As we come close to the beginning of Advent, the readings this week are speaking about the destruction of the temple and the second coming of our Lord. Yesterday we spoke about the different signs that will come right before the second coming. We spoke about plagues and wars and those terrifying signs. And today Jesus is speaking about another sign that would also come at the end of time, and this is a sign of persecution. This persecution will be relentless because it says that even brothers, relatives, and friends will hand you over, and some of you will be put to death. But I want to put our attention, especially today, in something very interesting that Jesus says. He says that if you're taken before a judge, he says, do not prepare your defense beforehand. And I think this is very challenging because I imagine if I was persecuted and if I was if I was sent to a trial that would decide my life, naturally, the hours or the days or the weeks before my trial, the only thing I would be thinking about is, what am I going to say before my judges and how can I work myself out of this situation? Because naturally, we have the instinct to survive and the instinct to live. But Jesus says, do not prepare your defense. This is at the same time perhaps too much that Jesus is asking of us, but also very consoling because he says, I will give you the words myself. So this invitation not to prepare your defense, I think it's very similar to the gospel that we heard on Monday. For those who went to Mass on Monday, you will remember that the gospel said that there was a widow who gave her 2 coins, and those 2 coins were her whole sustenance. And how are these 2 passages related? I think that both the widow and those who are taken to trial in persecution, both of them are asked to do a supreme act of trust. The widow had to give her 2 coins that were all her sustenance. That's all she had for survival. And those who are persecuted have to give up on their means for survival. That's their arguments that they could bring before their judge. So I think that the common ground between the widow on Monday and the reading of today is that Jesus truly asks from us, in some occasions of our lives, heroic acts of trust and faith. Do not prepare your defense. And why does he ask from us these acts of faith? And the reason is, only when you act faithfully and with an absolute confidence in God, God can prove to be trustworthy to you. Only when you put everything in God's hands, you will be able to see God's hand in everything. So let me finish with this question. Is there any aspect of your life where God is asking you to do a supreme act of confidence? Is there any aspect of your life where God is inviting you to make an act of faith that only in making this act of faith you will be able to see His providence and His generosity in your life? Is He making you that invitation to do that act of faith so that He can provide what you will be lacking? So today, as we hear this gospel, let us embrace that invitation to supreme trust, knowing that He will always provide when He asks us to do difficult sacrifices.